Hi guys, my name is Mike, and I'm going to talk about my internship this summer at CTSB, otherwise known as Community Television for the Southern Berkshires, and a little bit about that, which is pretty exciting. So let's get started. A little bit about me. I'm a radio video production major with a minor in journalism, and I study at LaSalle University. I found out that this summer I am fairly decent at editing videos, but I also like editing videos, so I'm glad that works out too. Um, and the people behind me at CTSB were really inspiring and kind of kept me going on that track. So I was able to expand my toolbox further with that. I'll talk about a little bit more of that later. As for some of my career goals, I've always kind of wanted to work in the video field, whether that was production, being on set or studio, or even out in the field. I thought that was a really cool job. Even working in post and editing, I like putting the story back together and trying to put it into a nice chronological way where it makes sense and people will be able to enjoy it. As for what CTSB and what I did this summer, um, CTSB community television for the Southern Berkshires, and it had a lot of in-person and virtual bits. The virtual bits mainly being those out in the community that were recorded, whether those were town meetings or just something that the town wanted to record. They'd send to us, we'd edit it and throw it up on our broadcasting station, which is really cool. Or if it was an in-person event, there's a couple of those I did, and I'll touch on those a bit later, but we would edit those as well, whether they're community highlights or just something that were going on in the community we wanted to record. We would take those, edit them, shoot them, throw them together, and throw them on our broadcasts or even our YouTube page, which is really neat. As for what my role was this summer, I shot packages and handled the different cameras and equipment for live streaming events, as well as edited with myself and other members of the CTSB group and organization. My supervisor was Richard Frederick. He was a really cool guy, helped me out with a lot of different events this summer, got me set up on a great path and go from there, and made me meet a lot of the different community members at CTSB, which is really cool too. And as for what CTSB is and their mission is to provide free community access television to the Southern Berkshires. So that's Lee, Sheffield, Great Barrington, Lenox, and all those areas in Southern Massachusetts or Southern Berkshire County, which is really cool. And if you don't know what that is, you can look it up on your own if you'd like. As for how LaSalle prepared me, they have a great communications department. A lot of the classes I took, which are listed here, you can see I learned a lot from, especially video editing, helped me out a lot this summer when it came to crunch time at CTSB and sending stuff to the, I guess not the printer, but to the broadcasting live stream, which is really cool as well. And LCTV is a great asset. That helped me a lot with the club, LaSalle Community Television, with getting used to in-studio production, editing afterwards, and just throwing a piece together, which is really fun as well. As for some goals that I had going into this internship was to become more familiar with how a TV station operates in the real world, as well as what equipment and software the station uses. I found out LCTV actually has more expensive equipment than most regular broadcasting stations, which was really cool and really eye-opening too. As for the contributions I made, here's a long list of them, but kind of breaking them down. As a basic intern, you do a lot of basic interning stuff, whether that's especially at a TV station. I helped others edit their projects. I edited projects for CTSB, whether that was their programs, including the community highlights reel. I edited a couple of those videos together, which was neat. And then obviously you have your basic stuff. I cleaned up a lot of clutter, moving green screens around and setting the stage in the studio, which is neat as well. As for the community shoots I did, one that stuck out in particular to me was the Massachusetts walking tour. That went on from June 17th to the 26th. Basically, what it was four guys and or it was four people walking around the Appalachian Trail, and every night they got to a campsite, they would stop and have a little live concert, which is really neat. So I was able to shoot and edit two of those and upload them to our server for the television station or the channel. And then as for our bigger live streams that we did, there was one at the beginning of the summer that I did, which was with Jamie Raskin, the U.S. representative for Maryland, as you can see in the top. He was a really cool guy, kind of spreading the book tour that he was doing. But I shot and edited that, did the live stream for that as well, and then the post production, put it on our YouTube and our channel. And then more recently, a couple weeks ago, or actually a few days ago, Elizabeth Freeman had a monument play kind of deal going on, which is really neat. It was a play about the abolishment of slavery in Massachusetts. I was able to shoot and cover that. And basically what it was a play the night before they unveiled this statue, which you can see right there on Elizabeth Freeman and how she had her journey to the abolishment of slavery in the North. As for challenges I faced was mainly getting hours. Making my own projects was something that Rich told me I was going to have to do since the very beginning. And that was a pain too. That was a little bit hard, as well as like, as you can see here, finding things to do in the community was a tough thing. But luckily enough, I was able to make some contacts, help out with some local weddings, as well as help out my other job with shooting their promo video. As you can see here, this is Ramble Wild, the aerial adventure park. I shot a promo video for them and I'm still working with them on that, but hopefully it'll be done soon. As for how I grew and what I learned this summer at CTSB, I grew by expanding my quote unquote toolbox of knowledge and skills, learning how to do in studio camera work and on location camera work, which is really cool. And then also learning a whole new software program on Macintosh, which is called Final Cut Pro, by both helping others and learning on my own with some tutorial videos that they sent me, as well as just some stuff I did on my own editing wise, which is really neat. And from that, I was able to learn. I had a really good knack at editing and really good with that as well. As for the lasting impact it had at CTSB, career goals wise, it inspired me to find a career in film and video, and I'm still pursuing that with kind of the goal of going towards going somewhere where they need a videographer or an editor. And how I'm doing that as well is at CTSB, the people there were able to set me with some other connections elsewhere, setting up networking with other companies and trying to do that as well this summer was a lot of fun. And as for how this internship helped me, it gave me an experience that'll last forever. I have a lot of great knowledge and skills on different kind of tasks and also just different ways of how to do things. But one thing that was really deep with me is it also made me feel comfortable in what I was doing. CTSB, the community there and people at the station were really kind and they were also like really helpful. They made me feel welcomed. They made me feel like I was actually contributing to the community, which was awesome. And then as for my advice to those who are interested in interning, if I were to intern again, I would definitely email my supervisor or peers more, trying to get more hours, especially at the internship site, and not just outside, as well as just finding more things to do on my own, making those connections to try to do more outside shoots of CTSB, like freelance work. As for those interested in interning, I like to say definitely go in with an open mind. One thing that stuck out to me in particular was you're not going to be the smartest person in the room. And that's why I have here being prepared to learn something new that you don't already know. Because a little anecdotal story, which is the first day I worked at CTSB was the Mahawe live stream with Jamie Raskin. I showed up the time they wanted me to show up, like a few minutes early, and they had already finished setting up their entire live streaming kit. And I had no idea of this until I got there. But they brought me out to dinner and they were talking about it while we were eating dinner, and I had no idea what they were talking about. I was a little thrown off, a little like misguided, but all it really was they were just talking about this one thing that was wrong with the audio. And from that, I was able to learn what they were talking about. They kind of explained it to me. They were really kind about it. And it made me learn that like there's always more to learn, and like you can never go in knowing thinking you know the whole room or thinking you know what's going to go on, because even when I got there and started helping out, they were like, yeah, no, like this is what this is, like we'll help you. And I was like, great. But that's why I enjoyed my internship at CTSB, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation on what I've learned and what I've gained from this summer. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you later.